Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the Everton ClubCall. This is your opportunity to get in touch with us and speak about whatever you want to speak about. Whatever you want to speak about, whether it's the win against Leeds United, whether it's the game against Southampton, whether it's the ticket prices, whether it's the revelation that Ned's just dropped on us like a bombshell that we won't speak about. Whatever it is, get in touch with us. The link is on our Patreon. It's free. Wherever you are in the world, get in touch with us and let's have a chat. It's your show.
If you're a patron.
It's your show. I mean, you've got to be a patron. I mean, you don't have to whisper that. You have to be a patron. You have to be. But for the price, for less of a price of a coffee, certainly in London. And, you know, you can't even buy that much petrol. So you might as well drive less and watch more Toffee TV.
Maybe.
Economically, I think that's a winner.
Maybe.
I think that's a winner.
What isn't a winner is how bad the internet is.
I mean, the internet is the internet, isn't it?
We may as well go and talk.
Well, let's get into it. You've got Astro on the line. We can always depend on Astro. He's always there. Very much like a wrecking ball.
Fair play.
Hello, Astro. Hello, Astro.
You might be able to hear him. I can't.
I'm going to say this is because of Ned.
Of course it is. The audio fella is not audio in it.
Any chance, Ned?
It's just staring at us.
Ned?
This is great TV once again from Ned.
Ned.
Okay.
Ned.
Smiling at me.
Well, he probably can't hear us then, Ned. So there's an issue, isn't there, Ned? Straight away.
Right, so we coming off this call? Or
Ned,
what?
make solutions, not problems.
He's got he says we're in slow motion, it just means he's got talk.
Right, okay.
Okay.
I'm coming off it till Ned's sorted it. Gary Ward says hello. Degsy says hi guys. I'll call shortly. Just got something to do.
No, it's not.
Well, he's got his meds. Got his meds.
Fair enough.
Fair dues, Dex. Gareth Hughes says I only watched the Everton Tunnel Access video last night and he loves Van der Beek already.
Ooh.
His celebrations after the goal DM were amazing. You'd think he was a die-hard blue. Loved watching it. Yeah, he did seem to buy into it at the weekend, which is great. Eric Nielsen says yesterday's Patreon Live at 5 show was excellent. Like a painting by one of the 4 artists Ned can name. Remember Ant. Ped's knowledge of American sport was impressive, as were Baz's thoughts on Dick L's marital situation. You know what? And it was all wrapped up in a show that started off talking about Everton's academy, the under-23s, and the women's team. So there you go. That was just a little bonus that you got at the end of it. Absolutely. Was some marital advice. Very much like a agony aunt special at the end, wasn't it? For Dick L.
Incredible.
Who is, one of the greatest patrons ever to walk the earth.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Tim says, Ned, get Astro on the line. And Meister says, can we return to Ned and Dick L's debate of not getting any from your other half? That's not for the open forum, Meister, but we may revisit that tomorrow. Who knows?
Ned, any further updates on Astro?
Ned has basically put Astro in the corner, very much like Baby was put in the corner.
No one puts Astro in the corner.
Well, apparently Ned does.
No one does that.
Apparently Ned does. On a internet update, my Mac is just not having it here.
He's not having the internet.
It's just
the internet is grim in our studios. There is a storm coming. That might be playing a part, but we are having the internet ripped out, aren't we? In the next few weeks, aren't we? We're having like proper full on. Super.
Well, they are.
Ninja.
We might get a little bit of it.
Super Ninja Turtle. Astro, can you hear us?
Yeah. All good.
That's all good. We can hear you. Let's get into it.
Take it away, man.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in. I wanted to jump in as early as possible. I got a bit of work to catch up with. It's middle of the day here. You know what I mean?
Well, you know.
That not much we can do about that, mate.
That's
is there?
I know.
That's on you. That's on you because you're in America.
On me. Yeah, it's on me. That's all my fault.
Go on, mate.
Location problems.
What's happening? Go on.
No. What a difference a week can make.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, like honest to goodness, like we threw them straight up. We threw Leeds in the torture rack. and kept them in there the whole match. I mean, listen, we wrung the loose change out of their pockets. We whooped them so bad. I mean, I think we took next week's lunch money off of them. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, I'm over the moon. I'm absolutely buzzing. I mean, I'm absolutely loving it. Been watching the highlights, rewatching the goals. I thought Seamus Coleman was going through the back of the net with the ball. I thought it was going to split the netting. You know what I mean?
It was
unreal.
You're absolutely right. We sat here last week and spoke to you, and it was a very different show.
It was.
I was having to scrape Ped up off the floor for the live show. Yeah. And here we are a week later, and certainly Everton's best performance of the season. I think everyone would say that for the whole 90 minutes. Against Arsenal, we were excellent second half. But for the whole night, for a 90-minute performance, I think Everton were fantastic at the weekend. And you're absolutely right. We got in. We didn't give them any opportunity. When you watched it, asked over the time, could you just tell in the first? Because I could tell in the first couple of minutes they were on it. But is that the kind of Everton you want to see? That intensity, that never stop running and creating chances. Is that the kind of Everton you want to watch?
Oh, that's the Everton that chose me. That's the Everton that I love. I call it the total package. You know what I'm saying? We absolutely threw the total package on them. And you know what, right? When I say total package, I'm talking about all of the things that make Everton great. We're on the same plate together.
Yeah.
Goodison, whoo, baby, Goodison was bouncing. I mean, honest to goodness, I was fired up. Just listening. You guys sounded beautiful. Everton played with aggression, and you could tell, it's like you guys have said, in some of the content earlier this week, there we go. There's a little bit of a delay. It threw me off. But no, it's all right. It's one of those things where, we went out and stepped on their necks for the first 20 minutes. And even when it looked like they might get back in, we snatched them back and no, son. No, that ain't how it's going to be today.
Yeah.
And it was. The players were up for it. And I'm telling you, Goodison Park bouncing from the get-go only spurred them on even more. And I know that it's a reactionary place where a bad call or a bad challenge, can get us fired up. I think that if Goodison gets tuned up, it was absolutely sound and fury. The sound was coming from the stands, and the fury was on the ground. You know what I'm saying? On the pitch, and it was honest to goodness one of the most beautiful sights these eyes have seen in quite some time.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly.
No, we were sat here last week, and I think I said last week that we had to get involved as fans because I didn't trust the players to be able to do it on their own. We witnessed that at Newcastle. Right. It was an away game and the players couldn't do it, and the supporters absolutely responded. And Goodison was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was relaxed. I think it was a lot more relaxed than it's been for a while, even though it was such a big game. And that's why it was important for me that we didn't get drawn into this thing of we've got 17 games, there's plenty of time. It was a case of there has to be an urgency, and the quicker we get going, the easier it'll be on everyone. The more relaxed we'll be going into games, knowing that you tick off one game at a time. You're not going into the back end of the season still, hopefully, not needing stuff. And I hope that's the way it's going to play out. And there was that feeling. I can't speak for everyone, but I didn't feel like there was massive nerves around the guard. I didn't feel, and when I say that, what I mean is that in the second half at 2-0, when you sometimes feel like it could, you could get the odd. Because the thing about it, Goodison, right, and this is where I think people get it wrong about Goodison Park is, there's a nervousness that goes around Goodison, and it transmits itself into the odd shout at a player or just shouting at players in general to be, because we don't think they understand the urgency that we're seeing. And that is the case a lot of the time. And that nervousness then, I think, goes onto the pitch. Forget about boos and shouts and jeers. I think it's the nervousness that gets onto the pitch. It's not anything else.
Sure.
And I think what happens is that, well, what happened on Saturday was we were all relaxed from the start. We got a good lead, and then we just looked after the lead and we looked after the ball, and it went on from there. And you know, as you could hear on the TV, it sounded great. That's the sound of happiness, isn't it? When you hear when you're at the
Yes.
ground, you know it's good, and when you're away, when you're watching from home, you know it's good, and you know that we're all in sync, and that's all that we've just done a little show there about the differences between Benitez and Frank Lampard. Even if they name the same team, the differences. It's exclusive on Patreon for patrons. Get involved. That'll be available tomorrow. And one of the things is that unity. It's that thing of all being in it together, knowing that if the manager makes a decision, you trust them with it. And we hope that's how we feel going forward.
Yes.
And then you don't have that nervousness at the ground. You don't feel like, oh my God, these don't get what we're seeing. And that's the way it is sometimes at games, isn't it? We've been at loads of games, Baz, where you can feel what's about to happen, and the players don't respond to it. Well, Saturday didn't quite feel like that. So the good feeling carried on and the atmosphere carried on. And also the fact that fans knew that they had to keep the atmosphere going no matter what. So it was really, really good and enjoyable to be at.
I think I would describe it as it's passenger versus participant. Okay, so many times under Benitez, even the players, you felt like a passenger in the match. Like the match was going the way it was going, and you were just stuck in the ride, and you couldn't change anything about it. Right?
Yeah.
It feels so much different in the last few weeks. It feels like that it's not just applicable to the players, it's applicable to the supporters. We're participants now. We're not passengers, okay? We're going to decide, where the match is going to go by the way we're playing football on the pitch, and we as supporters are going to decide how we're going to react and not let the match dictate to us the way, the way a driver does a passenger. It's passenger versus participant, baby. Let me tell you something, participation is a beautiful thing. It really is. When everybody gets on the same sheet of music, I bang this home over and over again. When the crowd is together, when the team is with them, Everton is powerful beyond measure. Honest to goodness.
Cool. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Unimaginable.
Astro, just quickly, Carla has said, how long has Astro been a Blue? So go on. Answer away, son.
All right. 12 years. 12 years, and you guys know this. You guys know this. You're part of my story. I mean, you guys are like, founding characters. You're like the founding fathers of my Everton love.
We're in the origin story.
Obviously, Landon Donovan.
Yeah.
You're in the prequels, mate. You guys are in the prequels. You're the origin story. No, it was honestly purely Landon Donovan. My youngest lad had taken to watching footy and playing footy, and he liked Chelsea. And then, I'd put it on the telly for him. And I'd heard that Landon Donovan was going to Everton in the commentary, right? And I go, well, who's Everton? And obviously my football had been limited to the U.S. national team at that point, and the men's side was garbage. The women were awesome and winning everything. And I started watching, obviously when Landon Donovan came to Everton, and I'm like, well, okay, I start reading about Everton. They're one of the original founding members of the football, football period. You know what I mean? And the first division and all the titles and the length of time in the Premier League and the history and the Holy Trinity and Dixie 60. And I mean, man, I got sucked in by the history. And like when Donovan left, I stayed because Everton had grabbed me, and it's had a hold of me for 12 years, and it ain't never letting me go. I'm blue till I'm through. You know what I'm saying? And it's honest to goodness. Like sometimes it's a challenge, but there's always satisfaction in supporting Everton. And I'll say this, it hasn't always come from what I've seen on the pitch. More oftentimes than not, it's the quality of the interaction that I have with supporters. Now, I know that Everton has a few bad apples in the crowd because everybody does, but I'm going to tell you something. Like, Evertonians are we're different, we're a breed apart, and I count myself absolutely like lucky beyond measure that I get to consider myself one of y'all. And I hope that answers the question. So
there you go.
It certainly does. Top man.
The origin story there has been revealed. There you go. Astro, thanks, mate. As always, enjoy the rest of your day. Work hard, as always. And we'll speak to you soon.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No
you guys
problem.
Be good, and we'll catch you soon.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Awesome. There you go. Astro. Bit of Astro.
Top man kicking us off right
Astro
at the
for
top
a
of the show.
Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday. What time is it?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
10 to 1 it'll be one with Georgia.
1, yeah.
So
Georgia.
Yeah, so, there you go. Carla asked when it started. And that's, there it goes. There,
Have you got any chats that may be super?
I'll have a look now, mate. I'll have a look. I have, yes. Glenn Watson, thank you on the super chat. Glenn, top man, says, Baz, would you re-sign Kurt Zouma? No, mate. No. I think what's happened the last couple of weeks, nah. You don't need distractions at your football club.
It's not a cat and else chance, is there?
No pussyfooting around from Pet there. No, good player, but no. And his knees are like jelly. So no, I wouldn't.
Jelly?
They're a bit dodgy.
Well, how would knees be like jelly, though?
Like, jelly's probably not the right. Cheese string's probably better.
It's like that.
Yeah, as he's going. I mean, they weren't like jelly.
All right, we've got Eggsy's coming on.
Eggsy.
Yeah. There you go.
I think it's Eggsy, but you know what Ned's like. Good old Eggsy.
The problem is he put it on the one there and it only had half of it, so now he's put on there, so it's Degsy.
So we can see it.
It's
Degsy. That's right.
That's a completely different person.
It is.
Degs, how are you, mate?
Not so bad, lads, yourselves.
Not too bad, mate.
Buzzing. Go on, mate.
Okay. I gotta be honest, I could be an Eggsy.
Okay. I mean,
but there we go.
But you're not. You're very much Degsy, so.
And I've made a mistake in honour of the programme, and I forgot you can't see me. I'm wearing my Schalke shirt.
Oh, top man.
There you go.
Never mind, Anyway, so just a couple of points, and I won't stay on long tonight because I'm a bit knackered. But there we go. Did you not just go into the game on Saturday? Did you not just feel the joy?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's amazing how people, even before the game, have taken to Lampard, haven't they?
Yeah. I think we were all, whoever was coming after Benitez was always going to get a bit of a backing anyway. But I think the fact that he is young, the fact that he's enthusiastic, he wants to get involved in it, he wants to be part of it, fist pumping and all that has helped him. Hasn't he?
Do you think the Lampard being like Gerrard's nemesis, do you think that has something to do with it?
Is that real? I mean, are they really nemesis? Is that a real thing, or is that just something that's been created by the media?
I know they battled out, but they did battle for years to actually take control of that England side, didn't they? They were the engine room, and it never worked when they both were on the pitch. So,
I think, it adds a little bit of spice, doesn't it, to them, to see who can do better.
Yeah.
Two great footballers, two lads who played. Well, they were on the pitch for England together. Didn't really pass the ball to each other, but I guess it gives it a little bit of another side story, doesn't it? A different facet to when we play Villa, I guess, next season, hopefully. And it's Lampard v Gerrard and all that. It gives them an extra side to it.
Yeah. So anyway,
have you just let Hound of the Baskervilles in with you there, Dex?
Nobody in here at all.
Okay.
Why?
There was just a noise then. It sounded like Hound of the Baskervilles. But go on, you're fine. What's your next point, Dex? Go ahead, mate.
Well, dear, I can't remember now because you've made me forget. No, I was asked on Saturday because there's a couple of lads that sit around me, listen to the programme, but don't get involved.
Okay.
Just to say hello to everybody around in the park end around F120.
Okay.
All the gang around there. Hi, guys.
Hello, F120's crew.
Posh it.
We have a laugh. We don't. It's just a good grin where we are basically, and just keep plodding on, guys. You're doing a fantastic job. You make my day because living in a care home, it's one of those places where there isn't a lot for someone like me to do. And when I know at 5 o'clock I've got something to look forward to every day, and now to be able to join in like this, it just cheers me up. So thank you very much, guys.
Oh, thanks,
Dex, just quickly before I let you go.
You're all right.
Before you go, was you're absolutely right about Saturday. It just felt, didn't it, lighter. You know what I mean? When you got in the stadium, it felt like everybody was together.
Just,
you know, and I think that transcended onto the pitch.
Yeah, it was just like you just walk into the ground and being around Dixie's statue, and there was people smiling.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And we weren't out the poo, and we're still not out the poo, but people left the ground smiling, and that's what you want, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's what football's about. That's what, when I was a kid and I used to go, and it was a nightmare. You know, I went when you took your life in your hands when you used to go to the football matches.
Yeah.
So, you know, in the old Gladys Street, and then you go away to somewhere like Leeds, and you'd be marched all the way up to the away ground or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
But it was just a joy to be around kids that were laughing and adults laughing and joking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that was before the game.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So it's
much better, money.
it was
much
nice.
better.
It was nice.
Brilliant. Well, it's lovely to hear from you, Degs.
And
Go on.
something else,
Yeah, go on, mate.
Go on.
Can I just add a bit of a caveat to that?
Go on.
I was a little shocked to see that the club didn't join in the banners. No flags were left out. No colour
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's an
from the club itself.
Yeah, it's an
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our supporters, they put out a word for people to take their scarves, they wear their colours, fly their flags. You know, a bit of tinsel, a bit of floppy flags wouldn't have harmed, would it? You know,
Maybe you could get the
ground.
maybe you could get like the Carlo one they had and just like get Lampard's head stitched over Carlo's head or something.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. No, it's a good point you've made. No, but
maybe we can maybe we could get a Benitez one, put it up in the corner by the clock, and shoot arrows at it.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know who brings arrows to the match, but that's a different thing. What they could do is there was loads of flags. There was loads of flags last season, wasn't there? On the seats and stuff.
I believe in the locker in the Gladys Street. Isn't there a couple of lockers where all the flags are kept and things that they've used before?
Not that I'm aware of, but I've never seen.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, there might be. I don't know, but there must be somewhere
They
they
do that in
store.
Germany.
Yeah,
There must be somewhere they store all those flags that they had from last season.
They store them, don't they? They don't just bin them. So
No.
Yeah, it would be nice for the club to join in and let's get the colour back in the ground. You know.
Absolutely, Degs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, lads.
Thanks for your
Nice
call,
one,
mate.
Degs.
Nice to speak to you.
Good to speak to you.
See you
Take care,
later.
mate.
Bye bye.
See you later. Ta-ra, pal.
yourselves, and I'm about to go and make a brew myself.
Go on, mate.
Go and have a
All right.
brew. Take care, Degs. Ta-ra, pal.
Yelked up.
Ta-ra.
Cheers, guys.
Ta-ra,
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Degsy there, who once played for Schalke, if you are unaware of that. One of our regulars on Patreon, and he played for Schalke.
So there you go.
There you go.
Craig says the fans need to keep it up for Saints away. Make sure the players feel if they're playing away from home, they'll get behind them because it'll be a really tough game. From Craig. Phil Williams says Landon Donovan. No, he was a player. He was. Gaz says love Baz having an argument with Ned over Dickel's sex life and lifestyle choices. Gareth convinced Ned is Dickel.
Yeah, there are times when I do feel.
I don't know though. I don't know whether
Has he ever paid for 2 patrons?
Don't know whether
I don't think he's a. I don't know if he's a. I don't know whether he's a. He's got that kind of comedic ability.
Yeah.
Ned, I don't know why you pay for one patron thing.
He's a top man.
Considering you work.
Cal says Astros proper Everton. Gaz says someone commented the other night about going to the patron do on their own. I'm going with my missus this time, but went the last one on my own and was made to feel more than welcome by all the lads on Toffee TV as well as the other patrons. Get yourself there. It's a boss night. Come and sit.
And we've got stickers. We've got literally, hi, my name is stickers for it as well. So anyone who goes to patron night, there's still a few tickets available for the patron night as well. The link is on Patreon at the top. It is absolutely free because it is for the patrons. A chance to come down, have a chat with some people, have a chat with us, hear a bit of Ned, a bit quieter this time.
Yeah.
There might be an ex-Everton player there on stage to have a chat about some things. So why not get involved? Come down. If you're not a patron, you want to be a patron, become a patron, and then you can come to the night. Tickets are still available. There you go.
There you go, yeah. Anthony Young says it was great to see Coleman on the score sheet after so long a time. It was. Craig says, Ped and Baz, what the situation on this news on the Echo about Mina transfer? If he goes, who do you replace him with?
Well, he's going, isn't he? He's going to have to
He's
go.
going to be going in the summer. I think there's some people think he may go before then. I mean, I don't know whether Everton... The thing is, though, because their transfer window, Flamengo, Brazil, they were after him, is open till April, and he's not going to play for us again this season. Then why?
Maybe.
You know, you could maybe do the transfer before the end of the season.
If
but
you're, by the way, if you're waiting to come on, right, and we'll get you on now, put your name in the comment. There's a little comment box on Patreon on the thing you're calling in on the Ninja. Put your name so Ned knows, so he can tell us who's on next, so we're not fumbling about. Now, I mean, Ned is the king of fumbling about, but, you know, we want to take it off him a little bit. So just put your name in the box for him so we can see who it is. There's a comment box. He's asking you in the comment box who you are. So there's a comment box. If you're calling us, just let us know.
K. Melski's asking how much Patreon is. It's £3.
It's £3.50.
$50 a month.
It's like, basically,
Less than a pound
because of, it was £3 and we never put it up. But because of inflation and stuff, it's gone up. So it's like $3.50. But you ask any single patron, none of them will tell you that it's not worthwhile. None of them.
Mark Ellison says, hello Mark, by the way, says, my name is Slim Shady, go on Baz, give it lads. I don't know whether he wants me to rap. I don't know what he wants me to give it lads with.
My name is...
I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real No. We're just saying that for Ned, because Ned's just discovered Eminem.
He has literally just discovered Eminem. Honest, he comes in going... There's that one where, like, no Stan, that song, that was a big song on its own, and we're like, was it? Was that a big song
It's
on
a
its
real
own?
song, you know, the bit on the chorus,
Ned,
that's a real song.
Yeah.
You got your mic on?
Put your mic on.
Right. Do you know when someone now says that they are, like, stalking someone, and they say, I stan them?
Yeah.
You know that's that way.
Yeah, I know why it was called Stan. It's not because his real name. It's because if someone's a stalker, they're a Stan.
But that's where it started.
No, that's where it started from, that song.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because he's stalking him, isn't he?
Oh, there you go.
And do you know that it mentions Phil Collins in the song?
I'm not entirely sure. I know the first.
So
verse
no,
and
he
that's
didn't.
it. It's hard to remember. There's a lot of words.
It's not. It's not hard to find
Dear
the word.
Slim, I wrote you, but you.
Do you know if I went on
Colin.
Google right now and
you
I
could have the words
Google
in 3
Stan lyrics,
In 3
it'd
seconds.
be there in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Literally 2 seconds. But
It
Ned,
might be a bit longer today because the internet's rubbish. But, yeah. Carl had a horrible dream last night that Brentford went 2-0 up against us at home and we brought one back, but we got sent down. And then for whatever reason afterwards, he went out looking for Monterex clothes. So fair play to you, Cal. Always thinking about your fashion sense, even on a day where it'd be very grim. That Brentford relegated us. Robbie said with Gordon's recent form and somebody else out of contention, Sancho and Rashford struggling at United, what are the chances of Gordon pushing for a late World Cup call-up?
I'll be honest with you.
I don't want him to. I'm not interested in England.
My tea's gone
I
cold,
really
I'm
don't care.
wondering why.
To be honest with you, mate. But it's a good question. And you know what? Why not? If you're looking at it like that, he's
the kind of player that if he
the
was playing for Manchester United, he'd already be in the squad by
Of
now.
course he would. But I actually think, though, with saying that he's also the type of player that Gareth Southgate would put in anyway. Southgate has been all right with doing things like that. So I think Anthony Gordon, if he carries this on, I could easily see him in an England squad by the end of the season, even if it's just for the experience.
Quite easily.
He's been in 21. He's in the 21s, isn't he now?
Right, we've got a call on the line. It is Dave.
It's Dave Which.
Dave from the Bobblers. Dave Bobbler.
Dave Bobbler.
All right, lad.
Dave, how are you, man?
All right, lads. I've been having a night. All right, mate. Yeah, all right. Just went on a bit of a walk there and I tried to connect with my Bluetooth headset and it's worrying. Actually, I'm probably the one that sets all the technology side of the Bobblers stuff up, and I'm actually awful at technology, so it just shows you.
Just don't admit it,
None of
Dave.
us have got a clue.
Just don't admit it. Just say, gremlins. Tech gremlins. That's what people always say.
That's it.
Much better than last week, though, mate.
I was also... Yeah, much better, mate. I was just consuming a cream egg, and Ned was questioning why I didn't have my camera on, and a bit strangely he wanted to watch me eating a cream egg, but there you go.
That is Ned
that is
for you, though.
strange,
That
and
is
that's
very,
Ned.
that's very much
You've met Ned, so you know
Ned.
exactly what he's like.
Ned is the kind of... Ned, I imagine Ned and cream eggs and his missus very much was a big theme around Valentine's Day.
I just think he eats nice.
Maybe. Dave, are you coming to Patreon tonight? You better add.
Yeah, mate, honestly,
Top man.
you know what, I've been having a bit of a nightmare.
No, I know.
Back in hospital,
No,
but
he's not.
I've booked the tickets. I'm fully planning to come.
Top man.
Just as long as nothing major happens
Yeah,
between
yeah.
there and then, I'm definitely there, mate.
Top man. Be good,
So,
good to see
yeah,
you, mate. Anyway, go on. What have you got to say for yourself?
It's just a quick one. First of all, I noticed the Eggy, or was it Eggy? Eggsy?
Eggsy.
Talking about the club and contributions. To be honest, it was on the back of the Newcastle game the other week. Loads of people started. I mean, Pedro was on one of the chats at Bain. We just tried to get as many people as we could to try and contribute towards it, and I think we gave the club about 48 hours. Right. Which is not long at all to get stuff made up. But they did actually contribute a load of the Holy Trinity flags. You would have seen some of them dotted around in the Garden Street.
Okay.
But now there's a bit longer going on. I know there's a meeting going on at the moment. A load more groups have come together this afternoon. 6 o'clock. I think Barry's chairing it. Hans Tors and a few others are all on that meeting. So they're already working on the next game again. So hopefully it's going to be bigger, bolder again.
Excellent.
But it was good to see, wasn't it? I think it's been mentioned a million times before, but I came away with a smile on my face, and no voice as always, and it just felt like the weight of the world had been lifted off our shoulders. But of course, it's one game. You look at some of the players there, and if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, would they give John Joe Kenny a contract, I probably would have said no. That's just time for him to move on. But now you're looking maybe at him. Thinking, obviously Coleman not getting any younger. Patterson's still a bit raw, for the sake of what, I mean, he can't be on much money. But what do you lads think? Would you now reconsider that Kenny deal maybe and just extend him by a couple of years?
I think for us, we've done a couple of videos actually featuring John Joe Kenny this week on Patreon. I think for us, the next 4 months are up to him, aren't they, to get that? We don't have to make a decision right now because ultimately, he's out of contract at the end of the season. I don't imagine he's got loads of people banging on the door. And if he has, well, he can't sign with any of them till the end of the season. So let him in it. Let him in it. It's one game. And but to be honest, I don't think it's just one game. I think in the last month or so, I think we have seen an upturn in his just general sort of demeanour. I think he's mentioned himself this week saying that he's changed a lot of things in his life. I think you can see them I thought on Saturday he looked like a senior player, the way he handled himself and the way he played the game. There was a confidence going through him that he felt like there was a feeling that he belonged to on the pitch. I think that's so important. I've spoke about this on many occasions. We both have on the channel. It's like when a player like Anthony Gordon say this season feels like they're part of the squad and feels like they're part of the first team and they're not going to be left in the squad 1 week and left out the next. I think they grow in confidence, and I think we've seen that in John Joe Kenny over the last month. Even if he's just like warming up or whatever, ready to come off the bench, there's been a little bit of a confidence there. New manager, got a chance to impress him. Manager doesn't know anything that's gone on before. So I think now he's got 4 or 5 months. And there's no rush. I don't think there's any reason to rush. We let him get his head down. Manager will watch him every day in training, and I think ultimately training will dictate whether he gets a contract or not. How hard he works in training every day. Is he pushing other people? Is he pushing Patterson? Is he pushing Seamus Coleman? Is he pushing Michaelenko? That's the question you got to ask, isn't it? If Michaelenko's left back because John Joe Kenny is like making that lad a better player because he's working him every day and saying, I'm going to take my place off you. That's what we need in the squad. So I'm happy to sit for the next 4 months and see how he does and then make a decision, because ultimately as it stands, he won't be getting a new one, or he isn't getting a new one, sorry. And then we make that decision, and I'm sure if Everton say, do you want a 2-year deal or do you want a 1-year deal just to tie us over, I'm sure that lad would probably say yes at the moment, because I don't think there's a lot of offers out there, or there hasn't been. So I'm happy to just wait, and I think as long as he just gets his head down and keeps doing it, then I'm sure he'll earn a new contract.
Do you think there's something to be said there as well with age? Obviously, he's 24. We all know that obviously players don't develop overnight sometimes. Some take that little bit longer. You look at Ozzy maybe, as a prime example. Not that, I'm saying Kenny by all means, he may just well be a utility player moving forward, which is, there's nothing wrong in that. But, you look at, obviously, there was news today that Warrington's possibly signed an extension, obviously out on loan at Tranmere. Do you think that we need to give them a bit more time and stop taking the pressure on them? I think some of that's probably come from our own shortfalls. Look at Tom Davies was kind of thrown in to that side because we were short of players, and there was a lot of expectation placed on him very early in his career, you know. Do you think that is a reflection on where the squad's been, and do we need to give some of these young players a bet? Obviously, the pathways improve, but do we need to give them more time? You know, better low moves, less pressure. You know, as the squad gets better.
Yeah and no, I guess. I think in terms of Kenny, what you're saying, the developments and all that, he has said himself, he's eating differently. He's working, doing extra training. I think he's got a personal trainer. His attitude's different, so therefore we're seeing an upturn in his form, which is right. I think he's following the likes of Anthony Gordon, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and kind of taking a little bit of care for themselves and trying to go, I want to get better, I have to do this myself. So he's followed that and he's getting the rewards from it. So I think, but he is at the age now, Dave, where he's 24. He's got to be, for himself, looking at, does he want to be first choice somewhere? Has he got the belief that he can be first choice at Everton Football Club? Don't know. But if he wants to hang around for another 2 years, 3 years as a utility player, then he's got to perform till the end of the season, for me. And in terms of the players, the development of players, then yeah, we have to get these. I think what we still have to do, though, is make decisions on these players younger, though. I really do. I think if you're not being on loan and doing well by the age of 20, you're never really going to do it at Everton Football Club. I think you've got to get out. I think they're trying to do that. I think one thing we have to say for Marcel Brands and David Undred, whatever, they've tried to turn the 23s around a bit and try to get younger lads in it, and that's what we've seen. And we're seeing Lewis Warrington at the moment on loan at Tranmere. Reports today that he's close to signing a new deal at Everton. He's only got 5 months left on his deal as well. So if he goes to Tranmere and does really well, and then I think, or by all accounts, coming from people around him, he'd be looking for a season-long loan next season somewhere. Then we consider whether he's good enough to be part of Everton's first team squad. I think that's what lads of his age have to try to do. Unless you get an outstanding talent like Wayne Rooney or Ross Barkley, who went from a kid to being part of Everton's first team squad. Yeah. Anthony Gordon's done the same, really, although he went on loan for a little bit. But in general, that's the pathway that they have to take, and they have to go and, I think sometimes you do have to go and experience that first team football at a lower league to realise what you've got at Everton Football Club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think there's an argument as well? You know, look at how Chelsea moved Livramento on. Taylor Fayot to us from Barcelona, that, you know, maybe look at selling them much younger, and then just putting that kind of emergency clause on them. Should they actually, you know, outdo our expectations, then there's no risk involved. Then we can always take them back, can't we? Obviously, I'm assuming Kenny's not eating cream eggs like myself, but you know, do you think that might be a way that we might adopt that approach moving forward as well, just to give us that security and to move them on and get them that experience and then review it?
I think we tried to do that with Anthony Robinson, didn't we? Who was obviously playing for Fulham, but he went to Wigan. We sold him to Wigan for $1.5 million or whatever, and we had the buyback thing, and in the end Everton kind of didn't go through with it, because I don't think he was interested in coming back to Everton, because he knew he was literally coming back to be sold on at a higher price. But yeah, absolutely, if you've, the only issue we've got is when you're talking about Chelsea selling like Livramento and that, them kids have coming through at an elite club, a team that's in the Champions League, so it's got a big squad, but there's also a well-established structure. Yeah, and those lads go on loan. I mean, I want us to go after Armando Brozier in the summer. That kid went to Holland and got 10 and 30 there, and now he's gone to Southampton on loan. If you can get them out on loan and they do well, then absolutely. If you look and think, well, you're not quite ready for us, but these want to buy you, so we'll put a buyback clause in. That's how we do it,
I'll tell you one thing right now. Do not be surprised if you hear Newcastle have bought, the owners of Newcastle have bought a club in Belgium or Germany or somewhere or whatever. Well, not in Germany maybe, but somewhere in the next couple of years, which they use to farm out players, bring players in from all over the world, what Chelsea do. I know the rules are starting to tighten up, but that would not surprise me at all, and I think it's what Everton should be looking at. They should be getting a link. I'm absolutely made up that Warrington's at Sammy. We spoke about it yesterday, about we've got to get more links with local clubs that we can send our players out on loan where you can feel that they're looked after and it's the right place for them to be. But it's structure, isn't it? We've got to get that structure in place. That's why having a director of football is so important, and having the structures in place, and because we've lost out in the last 2 or 3 years. A lot of good players have sort of slipped through the net of Everton, and we know who they are, and some of them are going to go and have really good careers. But, you know, there'll be other kids. There's always other kids, and it's up to us to be challenging for them and hope that... And that's one thing, funny enough, going back to the John Joe Kenny situation as well. John Joe Kenny, is he blocking somebody else? And if he's not blocking somebody else, why isn't he blocking someone else? Why isn't there a kid coming through that Everton go, well, we're not going to give a contact to John Joe Kenny because he's going to stop this kid coming through? And if there's not a kid, then Everton need to after ask themselves the question, why isn't there a kid coming through? And I suppose that's the case every time you get a Tom Davis or you get a John Joe Kenny. If they don't make it by a certain time, then you've got to let them go and let the next one come through, because that's what other big clubs do. That's what big clubs do. They look at who the next one is, and if you're blocking their path, then you're out the door. And I think that's the way forward for us.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, Dave.
Nice one,
Thanks
Dave.
for having you, mate. And we'll
Have a good one.
see you next week. See you later, mate.
Take care, mate.
Good stuff.
Yeah, a good one. Let's have a little look here. Gary Ward says, my origin story is similar to Astro's, except I blame Tim Howard. Matthew Barry's enjoying this and he's listening on the sly in work. He's right, Matt.
So it's the best way.
Mischievous Mock says, peace, love and happiness to all. That's a great message, and absolutely concur with that. Michael Wood says, Frank needs to go with the same team against Southampton. If they're all fit, repay their hard work, for good for the dressing room. It's not the time to start bedding players in like Patterson and Michalenko. Well, what I'd say, Michael, is for me, I've said this on a couple of other things we've done, Patterson and Michalenko would play against Bournemouth for me, the pair, and that'd be Patterson's debut, and Michalenko being, because that they should comfortably be able to play in that game. It'll give them a little bit. Obviously, Patterson would be his first time making his debut if he hasn't by then, but that would be his first start for me, and I think that'd be a good way to bed them in under the lights at Goodison, FA Cup 5th round game. You know, it'll be a bit of blood and thunder because I imagine they'll be going for it. So I think that'd be a good opportunity to give Patterson some minutes and let Lampard have a look at exactly what he can bring. And it'd give Michalenko, if he hasn't got him before, then obviously more minutes on the pitch in England and seeing what it's like when you're up against the non-league side. So that's what I'd do.
Just before we take the next caller,
yeah.
Guess what we were doing 3 years ago today?
2019. We were in Germany.
No, we weren't.
We were closer going to Germany, weren't we? We went in February, a week away. 16th of February 2019. Marco Silva was the manager. We haven't just been knocked out by Millwall or something. We were doing the final word. So
we jumped off a cliff.
Did we? In Wales?
Yeah.
They were for Everton in the community,
yeah.
The zip wire. Wow.
Wire.
Today, yeah. 3 years ago today. Scary. That was frightening, I won't lie. No, it was brilliant.
Love to do that again.
But it was just, no, it was the other one.
I'll take Ned this time, no.
Instead of me?
No, I'll just take Ned.
With us.
I'd throw him off.
With no thing.
I'd throw him off.
It'd be funny to see Ned because he's terrified of everything. What's he just said?
He said he's a good swimmer.
What swam with you before?
Hang on, you're a good swimmer. What good does that do you when you're
jumping
2,000 foot up on a
You're
cliff?
jumping on a pile of rocks, are you?
Well, you are. You have to be a good flyer.
What's he just said?
You're not jumping off on a pile.
Well, you literally are jumping off rocks, yeah?
No, I mean onto rocks.
Oh, you
Well,
are.
you're jumping.
Do you jump into the sea?
Oh, for God's sake, bring Ryan on.
I wish you'd jump into the sea.
He makes my head hurt.
I'd be
Bring
sad
Ryan
if
on.
it did. Oh, great.
Go on.
Ryan, are you there?
Ned, why are you lying about Ryan?
He's just watching.
Ryan,
He says he's ready.
unmute then.
Yeah, unmute. Yeah, unmute.
Is this the Everton press conference? Ryan, are you there?
Can you give me access to record, please? I need access to
yeah,
record.
Everyone's there. Lampard.
Thanks, like.
You can see him sat there going.
Can you give me access to record?
Okay, let's
This is it.
all right. Joe Barbary says, evening chaps watching from Cornwall. Is right, Joe?
Hello, my lovers.
There you go.
I don't even know that's Cornwall, but
Inky Squid asked Joe, do you mind me asking whereabouts? Because he loves Cornwall.
there you go.
This is the
Is
kind
he
of
trying to
thing
get Is he trying to get an Airbnb out of this or something?
But then Inky Squid lets himself down hugely. He says, I'm going to get stick for this, right?
Okay.
But I kind of hope Boreham Wood beat us. Why? I mean, unless you don't support Everton Football Club, that is such a strange comment.
Yeah.
Silly.
Silly.
Prince Rupert says, should we expect double figures against Boreham Wood?
No.
We should destroy an
Right, we got Ryan.
He said he can hear us.
I can hear someone like heavy breathing.
Yes, Ryan.
Or was that Ned?
It's Ryan.
Oh, what I do behind this computer's my own business.
Can you hear Ryan?
No, I could hear like a gainer then.
Yes, Ryan.
Texas 254 Club from Austin is checking in.
Is right.
Hello? Hello, to
Ryan,
Austin.
are you there? No, he's not. He's kind of. Ned, what have you done?
Ned, do something with Ryan, please.
Before I do something with
Kevin Cross said Ned's a riot. He's not. He's not. He causes a riot.
I can hear.
Tell Ryan he's not muted.
Ryan, can you hear us?
He thinks he's muted.
Ryan.
Ryan,
Yeah, but
you're not muted.
Well, yeah, but he's also not talking.
No.
Ryan, just talk.
So you put them together and what have you got?
It is. It's a lemon.
It's a lemon.
Basic tricks like Ned that's just sat there watching people eat cream eggs again. He absolutely is.
Is cream egg porn a thing? Asking you,
How would I know?
Good answer. Good answer. I just wanted to trip you up.
There's apparently if you find a white cream egg though, you win 10 grand.
Yeah.
So
And you wouldn't eat that.
No.
You'd probably throw it against the wall and go, what's this?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
What is this?
Yeah, they'd be safe from
What if there was hang on. What if there right, there was an orange club
No.
cream egg,
No,
right?
Disgusting. Yeah.
And to win the 10 grand,
Yeah.
you had to eat it in front of the judges and eat it all and go
That would be like a bush sucker trial
Yeah.
to me. Well, for 10 grand, I'd probably have a go. I'd probably then
You'd
go.
probably have
I'd
a
probably
go.
go and throw up in the toilet, but as long as I didn't throw up in front of the
No.
judges, I'd won it.
No.
Okay. Amin says,
Completely lost Ryan.
hope you're well, boys, from sunny Gibraltar. From Gibraltar.
Is it sunny though? Have you ever been to Gibraltar?
No.
See, I have. It's weird.
Yeah.
Because it is like, you obviously go through and it's like the end of Spain.
Yeah.
And you can see Africa from it. Dun, 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 dun. You can see Africa as well.
but it's
and the
also-
rock is, and there's like there used to be like a
The
mountain.
rock's there as well.
The rock's
I'll
there.
definitely go. Feel it.
He's like, finally, you come back to Gibraltar.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So you got the rock, and the rock's got monkeys on it. And the monkeys come over and try and rob your food. They're not asked one bit.
Well, they're not monkeys, they're barbarian apes. Not barbarian apes. Barbary apes, not barbarian apes. They're not Conans not turning up.
And what? Did he have like dead smart coats?
Yeah, not Barbary apes either.
Ryan was definitely there. His laughing was coming through on OBS.
Okay.
Okay, we'll put him to us then. Ryan, are you there? Ryan!
Speak!
Speak to me, Ryan! Speak to me, Ryan!
Hello, Ryan.
Ryan!
Ryan, you have to say the word.
Ryan, are you lying in Zion?
Ryan, we can hear you. Speak.
He can't. He can't. Ryan's lying. Oh, Ryan, no. No, Ryan, no. No, I'm going back. I'm going back. Al Clark says, can Everton call Moyes Keane if Lampard wants him? I think we just need to get over Moyes Keane.
I think we do.
Juventus don't even play him. They're looking to offload him.
I can hear Ryan coughing.
Well, he doesn't speak, though.
No, that's me. I think Ned's got.
Oh, there's someone
this
that
is
Ned is
John.
the other
No,
person.
I'm not Ryan though. I
Ned,
think Ned's
who's
got the
this?
wrong person muted.
That's Scott.
Oh, why didn't you
No.
simply say?
So,
Right.
so
You know what, Scott? Is it Scott?
This is John.
this is John. Only Scott.
John, sorry, 1 second.
Ned's got the wrong person unmuted.
You said
He
Scott.
said Scott.
He might have said, great Scott. What's going on?
but take a what?
No, there is a Ryan and a Scott in the queue ahead of me, but I think he's got me unmuted.
Right,
So
okay.
hang on. Just John, just wait 1 second, right? Just wait
Yeah,
one
no,
second.
no worries.
No, just stay there
No
for
worries,
2
mate.
seconds.
John
So
knows
hang
what
on.
he's doing.
So Ned, You were told to mute all the people, right? You were told to put them in a queuing system,
That's literally what.
right? Which you haven't done. And
They're in a queue.
the fella, there's a fella who's supposed to be on who won't come on and won't speak, and the fella who's not supposed to be on, whose name's not Scott but John, is on. What is going on with you?
John in the chat. I said put your names in the chat, and there's a Ryan.
But why is he not? Why was he not muted?
Hang on. Who's in the chat? There's a Ryan and a who?
And a Scott.
So where is John come from?
I have no idea. There's only 2 people in this chat with me.
So why? Who wrote
I
Scott?
was just calling to order a pizza. I don't know what's going on.
Go on,
Sorry,
John.
we
Go
can't
on.
oblige.
We have to bollock him
Alright.
in the
Imagine
moment.
Ned.
'Cause if we
Imagine
don't
Ned.
bollock him in the moment, he forgets and goes, "What are you on about? That never
That
happened."
didn't happen. Imagine Ned trying to make
Oh, my
John's
God.
pizza order. There'd be
Go
no
on,
chance,
mate.
John. You get ice cream or something.
All right, so I'm jumping the queue then.
No,
Go on.
go on,
It's all
mate.
right,
No,
go
no,
on.
no, because we can hear you. Right? I don't know what
Okay.
Ryan's doing.
All right, yeah. Well, all right, we'll go ahead. All right, well, how's it going?
Yeah,
Good, good.
It's all good.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, glad to finally get to talk to you after a while, and I'm glad to be on the same deal as my buddy Astro. Unfortunately, I don't have a boss accent like Astro. So.
Where you calling from?
Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm in St. Louis, which is Midwest, right in the middle.
Can I ask you a
Mississippi.
question? Can I ask you a
Yeah.
question before we go any further? Are you devastated that the Rams won?
No, because I'm actually a Chiefs fan.
Okay.
So I'm devastated that they lost the Bengals.
Lost the
game.
yeah.
But
Fair
yeah, no,
play.
I mean, I think a lot of people here, it's like 90-10 that they hate the Rams and hate Kroenke.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I was talking to somebody about Kroenke and I was trying to explain to her that Kroenke owns an English football team and they hate him too. So, well, no, hey, listen, I don't want to take up too much time, but I've got a few things. So first of all, I want to thank you guys, because I thank you for all you do. I know I speak for everybody, but I've been watching Toffee TV for a long time, and you truly have filled a gap that needed to be filled. And so thank you for all you do and all the content you put out. And I happily pay, the $50 a month. I'm sorry. The $2 a month or whatever
Is Ned getting that?
Yeah.
Ned's filtered that off, yeah.
Yeah. No, but thank you for all you do.
No problem.
Thank you for those words, John.
And also, I hope you guys, Ped, I hope you found a frame for the posters I sent. Remember that? From the Toffee shop?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was lost there for a moment. Go on.
I looked around at the behind the scenes thing and I didn't see it hanging.
No,
so I got
because
a
we
little-
haven't.
my feelings
Because
hurt.
because
there's a wall we've created. over
because
to the right
because
now.
we haven't done anything yet, because we've only just moved.
Yeah, I know.
The thing.
No worries, I'm just
Genuinely.
kidding.
No, I've
We'll
got just before you go on, John, I've got like a signed one from Howard's Way, which Rob gave us, which I told him we were putting up, and that's not gone up either.
Yeah,
so.
we literally.
I don't feel bad
So
then,
it's
because
all-
that takes.
I
that
just
takes
hope.
precedence
No,
over mine any day.
but there's room for that one because it's a long one. But I just hope Rob doesn't check that out yet. But anyway, go on, big man.
And just real quickly before I move on, I have to say that like the episode you guys did, where one of the highlights of my life was hearing Ned say, "Oh, these coasters are boss. They're bossy."
Do you know what I love?
That's my best St. Helens accent.
No, but what I would say is
Probably
right.
better, but-
That was a perfect
impersonation
impersonation of Ned doing an impersonation of anybody.
anywhere.
Of anybody.
Of anybody
Honestly,
from anywhere.
Ned can do an impersonation of anyone in the world, and it just sounds like
It sounds exactly
like
Exactly
that.
the same.
Honestly, it was amazing.
just the way he says, "Oh." I love you, Ned. Comic relief.
Ned
He
got
is.
some love.
He is really.
But no, anyway, so to get to my my broader points. So I did want to talk about, and it's kind of been brought up, but I did want to talk about John Joe. So a couple things. One, I know this is going to sound weird coming from an American, but I'm a huge believer in maybe too much in having Scousers in the team.
Yeah.
And it's for the reason, obviously they have to be good enough, right? Goes without saying, but for the exact reason I think that you guys brought up earlier, which is before that game, like, Ped, you were talking about how sometimes you're not sure, or no, Baz, maybe you were talking about, you just weren't sure if the players got it. Maybe both of you were saying, but a guy like John Joe gets it, right? He understands what the fans expect. He understands it. So I do think that there is a value beyond just playing ability that comes from having not just local lads, but like people like John Joe who grew up going to the game. And I don't know if you guys saw that video from a few years ago. I just reposted it on my site as well, where it was like 2018, where he's like doing the walk from Kirkdale to the ground. So it just made me emotional, because it's just like, that's it, right? That's Everton. The other thing I want to bring up about John Joe was something that Baz mentioned this morning on one of the other programs, which I had actually thought about, but was kind of afraid to say, because I still kind of feel like my football knowledge, even after all this time, is not the part. But Baz, you mentioned maybe even shifting him into midfield, like in a defensive midfield position. And that's kind of what I thought too. Maybe not full time, but there's a value for somebody who can play 3 different positions, especially when we just are never going to have a squad the size of Man City, or the teams, especially with financial fair play, things like that. So I'd give him another 2-year contract, if for no other reason that we gave a 2-year contract to freaking Nathan Broadhead, just because we wanted to get some value for him. Right? Why let him walk out the door, send him to a 2-year contract, and if he's a good squad player. And that's the other thing, is like, what's wrong with having academy players just be squad players? They don't have to be Rooney or Barkley, right? I mean, that saves us a lot of money from having to buy a foreign export on big wages like Andre Gomez, who just sits the bench, you know? So anyway, so that's my point on John Joe. The other thing is, you mentioned Astro's origin story. So not saying this makes me better than anybody else, but I will say, I'm pretty sure I'm close to the record for years of service. So I actually became an Evertonian in 2004. Good man. Yeah, when I thought, I'm pretty sure you could have taken all the American Blues and fit us comfortably into a conference room at the Holiday Inn at that point. And of course, back in the Stone Ages, there wasn't Toffee TV, there was whatever. So I spent the first 5-6 years of my Evertonianness literally never talking to another Evertonian. Like, I wasn't on any of the message boards, and it was just watching the games and reading Sky Sports and whatever articles I could find and things like that. So those were, I go way back. And then Baz, I don't know if you remember, but through our mutual friend Dave Feely, I actually wrote an article on my origin story for your website. Remember the website you guys had?
Yeah, outstanding. So that was that was 2011. We started that.
Yeah. So I actually wrote my origin story on your website. So I remember you back when you were the artist formerly known as THT in 1978.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, maybe John. We're kind of revamping our website at the moment.
Yeah.
So it'd be great if you could maybe dig that out and even update it, and we put it on Toffee TV for everybody to read, because I think that'd be brilliant.
Would love to, yeah, because mine's, it's funny, because like, I know we always say, we're chosen, we do not choose. But for me, that really, really hits true, because, 2004, I was kind of like Astro said, I didn't grow up playing the game. I grew up playing American sports. And, I'd always been a fan of the World Cup and, U.S. men's national team. But, I grew up in an era, and I'm even older than you, Baz. I'm 53. So I'm technically old enough to have remembered Everton in the 80s, but that English football didn't get shown on TV over here.
No,
we got more German soccer than American soccer, which is weird.
Yeah,
because they used to show Australian rules football on ESPN, but apparently we couldn't get the English First Division on TV here. But anyway,
crazy.
But no, so totally forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, I'll move on. So in terms of like, what mine was literally like, I just decided I was getting bored with baseball. Just as a real quick version, and I'll go.
Yeah.
I was kind of getting bored with baseball, like in the spring of that year. And, I always did like the international tournament. So I just started watching like Fox Sports Soccer, right? Before NBC got it. And and by the way, during those years, I had to watch a lot of Everton games on tape delay, which was crazy. But I would literally like turn off my phone, and sometimes I'd have to wait a day to watch the game.
Wow.
I would literally just avoid everything.
Yeah.
No, I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna make a short list, right? And I'm gonna rule out some teams. So I immediately ruled out Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, and who was the other big four back then?
Arsenal.
Arsenal. So just immediately rule those out, because that would have been like somebody coming to America and saying, "Oh, I'm a big Yankees fan."
Yeah.
Punched him in the teeth. You know what I mean? so actually, it's funny. I actually narrowed it to Everton, Villa, Tottenham, and Newcastle. Thank God Newcastle didn't choose me. Or Villa, because they've obviously both been relegated since then. But no, and I just started watching the games, and the first full Everton. Well, no, it actually started with Rooney, because that was the year Rooney went off in the Euros.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this kid is amazing. Who does he play for? And they were like, Everton. And like Astro, I was like, well, what's an Everton? Right?
I ask myself that question quite often.
We all ask ourselves that. Yeah.
What is an Everton, right? So I looked it up, and like, they're from Liverpool. I'm like, oh, cool, okay. I'd kind of heard of Liverpool, but whatever. So they play in blue, which is my favorite color. So I'm like, all right. So I've immediately got a thing there. And the first game, and this is going to sound crazy, but the first game I ever watched was the first game of that year after Rooney left, when we got destroyed by Arsenal at home. If you remember that. But weirdly, like, the crowd were freaking amazing. Like, they were just going nuts at every corner. It was an old school ground, which I love. And they just sort of spoke to me. And so I just said, okay, well, they got beat, but I like this. And of course, I don't know if this is, like, if you want to call it serendipity or bad luck, but of course, that year, right? They just started 1-0, 1-0, and we got to the Champions League, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm a genius, right? We're gonna go to the Champions League every year, and no.
And it hasn't happened.
But it was one of those things where it was like, literally, like, after watching just a few games, and I still watched all the other games, and I was just like, there's no decision. Like, this is my team now. Like, and wasn't like I did a right hand column and a left column, pluses and negatives. It was just like, I just assumed that one of these teams was going to speak to me, and Everton did. And despite all the aggravation and all the things that we go through as Evertonians, and I've been through for 18 years now, I wouldn't change it for a moment, because when that day comes, it's going to, and it will. I truly believe that it will. It's going to feel unbelievable, right? And we're going to appreciate it so much more than just about anybody else. Even more than like a Leicester, who I think probably never had aspirations to that level. That probably felt like a gift, like a surprise. Whereas I feel like when we get back to our rightful place, that's kind of our birthright as a club. If you know your history, right? It is our birthright, and we need to reclaim it. So anyway, I'll let other people get on, but that's me. But I just really get a chance to speak to you guys directly, and awesome.
Cheers, mate. So, good to have you.
John, thanks very much for your call. Take care. Look after yourself.
Speak to you soon.
Pick up, John.
See you, mate.
See you later.
Bye now.
Mate. I feel quite emotional about that.
Great call.
Good call. I like the origin story calls.
The origin
They're
stories.
good, them. I want more of them. I want more of those origin stories.
I think we should. We did have like Toffees, but like the story. So Ned was tasked with some. I've done one with a couple. Obviously Bridget and people like that, Jeff. But again, asking Ned to do something. What's the point? But no, it was good. It was good. Of course, you've never been asked to do an academy show either, have you?
We got Scott.
We've got.
Is that real Scott?
Is it real Scott? Or
does
is
he
it
know?
Brian?
Does he know, Ned?
I hope it's Scott.
Scott, does he know Ned? Ned,
does he know?
Well, there was definitely.
Ned,
John was in the top front of the queue anyway.
Ned, does Scott know?
Scotty doesn't know.
That's all I want.
That Fiona and I.
Do we have Scott?
He's muted himself.
Oh my Ned!
Sakes. He's on mute.
Flicked that on brilliantly, like Calvert Lewin. Just laugh.
You're on
Scott, are you there?
He only muted himself when you said, Scott, are you
Scott, unmute. Unmute. Press the button. Unmute. Come on, Scott. Come on. Have you just phoned up to go, look at them? No. Come on, Scott.
He's turning his camera off and on now. He's just going.
Oh, this isn't another Leslie Grantham, is it?
Scott.
Oh my God.
Talk to me, Scott.
Goose! Talk to me, Goose! Talk to me, Goose!
Make sure you hit the like button if you're
Dylan got
watching,
himself muted.
because this is
Oh my God.
we need it.
I found
We
it.
need it after
Scott, click on mute. Click on mute.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
He's not interested, Scott. What's going on?
Oh my God.
He just took me into a dark room now.
In the dark web with Ned.
Oh my God.
That could be a good show,
That'd
wouldn't
be a
it?
show. Yeah, not for us. A separate channel.
Scott, click on the
Oh
audio
my
settings and
God,
choose your
this feels
microphone.
like
It's not working.
I
the
love
two
it, though.
Ronnies or something.
I love it though.
Oh my God.
So what have you got?
Don't. It's a lemon.
Oh my God, I love it.
Paul Callow says amazing call from John there. Well in,
was.
mate. Brandon is laughing his head off. Said good quality entertainment.
I love
this.
it.
Paddy says this is fantastic entertainment, even though probably a nightmare for Baz and Pedro.
It's not. I love it. I love it because we can't do anything about it, and it's literally. And Ned, I don't think Ned can do anything about it.
I don't know. I think he
can't
could
go,
do
I can't
something.
just go and mute people.
Lynn Cook says Ned being rinsed from the other side of the world.
Scotty doesn't know.
Ryan and Scott.
Scotty doesn't know.
Hear of them?
Scotty doesn't know. Oh.
Oh my God.
That only makes sense if you've watched Euro Trip, which may be one of the funniest films of all time.
Scotty doesn't
And Ned
know.
didn't know
Right,
anything about it.
John Calder says big shout out for me dad. Big John Calder sitting in the living room and watching. He took the telly off me mum. Everton is life. Fair play, John. Big John. I hope your missus
my
isn't
God.
too upset with you.
No, imagine him going, you took the tell off me to watch this.
Yeah,
to
your
watch,
missus would be
to watch
fuming.
this.
Hang on, you're watching the two fellas going on
Mute
mute. Scott.
yourself.
No, that was just you.
There's a super chat
I
there.
know there is, but you're still talking. James, Mr. Everton on the super chat.
my
Nice one,
God.
James. Says, hey guys, I'm serving in the MOD. Lynham in Wiltshire. I'm the only Everton fan out of 3,500 soldiers in the barrack. Big up, James. Big up. Because that is tough going.
Yeah.
3,500 and there's only one blue.
Can you hear me
That's
now?
not good, is it?
Yes. he's
Hear
got
me
his
now!
microphone.
Hear me now!
Come here,
Came on, he was like,
It's this iPad.
Yes,
Oh,
Scott.
of
Don't
course,
blame.
it's
Well, no,
always
to
the
be
iPad.
fair,
On the
Scott,
iPad, I've had to click on settings.
always blame your technology. Always,
It's the
mate.
iPad. I'm shite at technology.
If you've not got a Ned, blame the iPad.
yeah, yeah.
Well, Ned thought it was Ryan, so he's been.
I don't think you were Ryan. 'Cause you joined.
he said he thought it was Ryan.
No, you
Yeah.
joined straight away.
You know what, Scott? Doesn't
You
surprise
joined
me.
and straight away
Doesn't
put
sur-
your name, Scott,
You
in the
sit
chat. So
down.
that's fair
You
enough.
thought the last
I said it's Scott.
It's
Yeah, I
Scott.
know. That's why I know you're Scott.
My name is what? My name is.
I
My
thought
name
Scott
is.
was
Go on, mate.
Go on,
Go on,
Scott.
go on.
What's your point, mate?
We had this issue 2 weeks ago. If you didn't remember, with the bloody sound.
Oh, again, Ned. I'm blaming Ned for that.
Yeah. Well, I've sorted it now, so hopefully it's tickety boo.
Yeah. Go on then, mate. What do you want to say?
So, yeah. Firstly, how good was that ball from Dele Alli on Saturday?
Oh, it was
Have you
extremely good.
seen a ball in world football in the last 18 months as good as that?
Well, probably. I don't want to go overboard, but it was a hell of a pass, mate. I was right behind it where I sit in the Bullens. It was the way it curled into his foot.
Oh,
It was
and
superb.
it came at pace, didn't it? Proper
Oh
pace,
God!
like.
And what a save, by the way,
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
Melier.
it was incredible.
Fantastic
Incredible play,
save.
Right, yeah, so providing we stay up, obviously, and it's still a big if, what do you guys think in terms of Mashiri back in Lampard next season? I don't know how it works with FFP, but obviously, I think we should throw the kitchen sink at this next season. 100 million, go and get someone like Mason Mount. I don't know whether he'd leave Chelsea, of course he probably wouldn't. But, I mean, Mount and Van der Beek in the centre of midfield. What do you guys think? Because I'm not interested in Europa League or Conference. I want the Champions League. Why shouldn't we go for the ambitious, part and go for it, top 4 next season?
I mean, you've gone big because if you'd called in a week ago, I was planning for the Ensley, but
The Ensley, stop it. No.
you've gone big. I mean, Mason Mount, I don't think we'll get Mason Mount, but I like what you're thinking there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'd like. I'd just like someone in charge at the football club who means that we don't have to spend 100 million quid. That we have fellas in there that mean that we go out and get good talent and we don't have to spend 100 million. Listen, Newcastle in the summer, they're going to spend 100 million, 150 million quid. And
They can't spend 150 million, by the way.
But do you know what? Everyone seems to think that Newcastle are going to all of a sudden throw money at it and win the league. It's not like when Blackburn...
No, but they're
No.
definitely going to throw money at it, though.
Yeah, they are, but they're not going to... I tell you now, Newcastle will not win the Premier League in the next 3 years. No chance.
No, they haven't got a
very,
hope.
Very surprised. Whereas back in '95,
Yeah.
Blackburn did it, and threw a couple of quid here and there. But the likes of Liverpool and City and Chelsea, and even United to a degree, they've got so much power now. Newcastle will not win the title in the next 5 years.
I don't think they'll win it in the next 10 years.
No.
But
I don't think they will.
But they'll
We'll win it before then.
But they'll throw money at it though.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, go and spend the 100 million, but spend it right, spend it correctly. You know what? You can get good players. There are good players out there if you do your homework and you spend them right and you go out. You know what I mean? So I hope we do spend money. I just hope we spend it in a way that we haven't spent it like in the past, and we have a.
It's the recruitment, isn't it? Recruitment's been shocking, hasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
In
so.
terms of, from the top to bottom.
But going back to your original, what you originally said, backing him. Yeah, I think they're going to have to back him. But what I would say is that Dele Alli essentially is a player for next season in a way, just because of the way the deal's structured. So you almost have to write him down. The way I look at Dele Alli is, I know he's a permanent deal, but it almost feels like he's on loan, and then he's going to become a permanent deal just because of the way it's structured. And then I want. I mean, I know it's only one game, but if we were to go for Donny van der Beek as well, and we were to get him, then that's another player. That would almost feel like that's two players that we've got in now that would be in a way for next season. And I think for me, I think a centre back is, you've got to go and get a centre back, like a real top class first choice centre back, someone who comes in and becomes the number one. And I really think that could change the team, the structure of the team. Of course we need more players, of course we need better players, and then we've got to keep hold of the better players we've got. But for me, it's a centre back, maybe a centre midfielder, and then you look at the other kind of players and the kind of talent we've got. And I think for the time being, all right, I don't think that's going to jump us up to challenging for the Champions League. But I think with a decent centre-back, because I generally don't believe... But I don't believe you can do that. I'm just going to say, I don't believe you can do that anymore. I don't believe you can transform your football club with a couple of signings anymore. I think, go on.
If you look at the Premier League, take the top three out.
Yeah.
The rest are bang average. So average. If we can get it going next season, Arsenal, Spurs have shot the bolt, haven't they? Yeah. United are just about going to scrape maybe top four. West Ham, there are no great shakes after the top three. No.
But what I would say is, though, you do need a squad, and I think that's what I'm saying. If you were going to spend the 100 million, I'd want good players and like 4, 5, 6 players for 100 million quid to get a good balanced squad, so that what we've seen this season is when a player drops out, the quality below that player for a lot of the positions just falls away massively. Exactly, and I think but I do think it's the depth that gets you into the European places, and you don't have to have great quality. I think what you got to have is a team like West Ham, where if you lose a player, okay, Declan Rice and Antonio, they can't be really replaced. Antonio could do if they had a decent player there for him. But it's the other players, like when they lose a centre-back, they have another centre-back who's quite equal. And that's always been, Moyes has always been quite good at that. And that's what Arsenal are near enough the same. I wouldn't say Arsenal are amazing. So for me, it's about creating that squad and getting maybe 4 or 5 in, maybe, and in one window. Plus the 4. Don't forget, we got 5 in this window. All right, 2 might go back to their parent clubs. But it's definitely, it would be lovely if the owner did come out and went, yeah, Frank, mate, go and get what you need.
FFP will stop what we're going to be able to do, though. We have to be careful with it.
I just think with Lampard, he's a bit like, suppose, like Gerrard. He's the type of, because he's a name and he's done it, seen it, done it. He's going to be able to entice people. Players are going to want to play for them, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You can get people in. I think what we've got to be careful of. Sorry, mate. What we have got to be careful of, though, is, and I'm with you. I honestly, the Premier League for me is poor. There's 3 really good sides, and the rest are average. And Everton are in that average support this year. We have been decimated with injury. I don't think any other team could have coped either with the injuries we've had. And but I'm not making excuses. It's just what it is. So, but I also still think we have to, for me, staying up is the first, is important.
That's what I'm saying.
And then the next thing for me would be, I know you're saying Champions League and all that, I'd be delighted if Everton got in the Europa Conference League next season. I really would, because I think in some respects, winning a trophy like that or the Europa League, but if you win the Europa League, you're in the Champions League anyway, which is sometimes easier to do. It might be easier for West Ham this year to win the Europa League than to finish 4th. And yeah,
But
the Champions League.
Isn't the problem with Europa League that you're playing Thursday, you're playing Sunday, you're playing Thursday, you're playing Sunday?
But the Champions League's Wednesday, Saturday, so it's 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have got it, and I understand what you're saying, and obviously that's where you want to go. But I think we do have to be wary of running before we can walk. And I personally, for me, I want to see a manager. My ideal now with the way this is that this is the manager that takes us into Bramley-Moore Dock. And that means backing him. It means all of us being on the same page as much as we can. It means investing in players he wants and helping it. And that has to be players with a sell-on value, because ultimately we can't keep going back to the well, I don't think. The well has to become ourselves. We have to become self-sustainable. And that might be that every few years we have to sell a Richarlison and reinvest that money. We have to sell the next one and reinvest it. Because if you do it right, like Ped said before, I mean, we've proved this year. 1.5 million got us Andros Townsend and Damari Gray. Damari Gray's been our best player this season. And Andros Townsend has been sound. He's our top scorer. He's been sound and he cost us nothing. So if you're diligent in the work and you know what you're getting, we can move away from £40 million for Alex, 35 million quid for Alex Iwobi, 30 million for Moise Keane. 2 players who we've spent 65 million on haven't really worked out. You know, players like that, instead of spending 60 million on 2, you can spend 60 million on 4 and they give you better value. And I think if Everton do that, we can move up to that. And then, like you said, we then can start going, the season after, right, there's some more money. Go after that 4th place, because it isn't set in stone. And I don't think it will be set in stone anymore.
No, I don't think it is.
Because there's a lot of money in the Premier League and there's a lot of good teams.
So, defo.
Do you think if Lampard wants Dominic to stay, do you think he'll stay? Or do you think if someone comes in for the bid and like the club want the money, or do you think if Lampard said, we want you to stay, they'll keep him, or do you think he'd go?
I think it's really tough. It's a tough one, that, mate. I think you've got a better... Put it this way. We've got a much better chance now with the coaching setup and the manager of him and Richarlison staying than what we had 6 weeks ago when Benitez was the manager. Yeah. That's all I'd say. If Dom wants to go and Arsenal stump up 75 million for him, whatever it is, then fair enough, we'll have to look at it, and we may go and get Brozier from Chelsea, who looks fantastic, young talent, reinvest that money in 3 or 4 players, like you said, and you do then start to spend that money because it's FFP neutral, it's FFP positive, because Dom was £1 million, whatever, and therefore you can reinvest in those players and your squad becomes much better. Ideally, they stay and we build around it, but that's a really tough one, because I think what we'd have to do is we'd have to make sure that we finish the season really strongly, so that you can say to Dom and to Richie,
it looks like we're improving.
Exactly, got a good manager, good coaching staff, and we're improving.
Defo.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
right. Cheers, mate.
Nice one for that, mate.
All right,
thanks. See you again soon. Take care, mate.
See you later.
See you, ta-ra, pal, ta-ra. Right, our final
Anyone,
one.
Ned?
Is it, Ned?
The next person in queue trying to work out if it's Brian or Michael, because 2 people have put the name and not said which one's who.
Okay, come on. We've got 7 minutes to get through these 2 calls. Let's go.
I think it's Brian. I'm going to drop him in now.
Okay. We'll just ask him.
Hello.
Who do we have?
There you are, it's Brian here.
Hello,
on,
Brian. You all right, mate? What's your point?
Yeah, sound. As usual with Everton, there's so much to talk about. Never any end of subjects, is there?
No.
So you don't really know where to start. But one thing I would like to go into is sometimes, coaching of kids. When you're a kid and you've got to train it, what do? You practice on your weak foot.
Yeah.
You train it. You kick that ball against the wall, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So you can actually get a touch. So when the ball comes at you, you can actually stroke a pass through with your weak foot.
Yeah.
And that's what I taught my lad as well. When you just practice on your weak foot. So one day when you need it, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if John Joe Kenny had done that? Can you imagine he got 2 more assists nearly on Saturday? Now, I'm not saying he's the best alternative to right back or left back, but if he'd have been coached from his younger days with his weaker foot, we would see the benefits of a much better player now.
You could say, you know what? You could say that about so many players, though, couldn't you? There are so many players.
Absolutely.
So many players out there.
I'm using John Joe as an example because it's so relevant just now. Because he's not exactly nailed down the right back spot. There's an opening for him at left back.
Yeah.
It won't be a first choice, but there's an opening there.
Yeah.
If he could have used his left foot for a much better way on Saturday, then he would be a lot closer to that starting level than ever before. Plus, I'd like to say that, sometimes you get a feeling about a player. When you say, nah, sorry, not going to make it, mate. Yeah, you're good, but you're not really quite there.
Yeah.
I've listened to you quite a lot, as you know. But I've got a feeling that John Joe could be the kind of Alan Harper player that we had in the 80s. I think he'd be very important to the squad. I don't think he should be thrown aside. I think he, as our American friend was saying about being a scouser and understanding the club, etc., etc. I think he could be a large part. He could be a part of that. The Alan Harper kind of role. But that's what my main point was, because it's not something that's been touched on before. The coaching of players from being kids, and especially through the academy, where they are supposed to be talented. They're supposed to have that basic technique in them to get as far as they have done. So why not push that weaker point? What was the story about I've just forgotten his name. After the war, he took over centre forward, took over from Dixie Dean.
Tommy Lawton.
Oh, was it Lawton?
Tommy Lawton.
Yeah.
The interview with him about how they used to train heading.
Yeah.
He used to have to jump. The ball would hang
from the bar,
roof, from the ceiling. He used to jump up and head it right. If you didn't head it right, he got whacked and he was by a big stick. Remember, you've seen the interviews. So I'm not saying that kind of method should be reintroduced. What I'm saying is practice.
Do you know what I think it might
not
be?
Not just the strong points, but your weak points too. And you'll find that the academy players might not end up in Division 1 or the Championship, but they might become decent squad players in the Premier League instead.
Do you know what I think it is?
And I think this is a big failing in our coaching in football from the early days, from the first days.
No, I agree.
I think a lot of it's got to do with the time that they spend with them. Because when I've watched like documentaries on like Ajax, kids in like Holland, they go to school around the academy rather than go to the academy around school. So they get all their schooling, but it comes through the academy when they're like 13, 14 and 15. And most of their time is spent training, and the schoolwork fits in with the training. And that must be a major part of it, because we know technically players in like Holland are much better and they can play with both feet. And we view players from Holland and Ajax and stuff as having a much better technical ability. So maybe that's got a large part to do with it. When kids in this country have good ability, we focus on the ability they've got and try and polish that up as much as they can, rather than saying, well, actually, you haven't got a left foot either. I mean, you take someone for like David Beckham, for example, one of the best right foots ever in this country in the last 30, 40 years, but could he do anything with his left foot? No. And in other countries, I don't think that would happen. I think in other countries they'd have just enough on their left foot to be competent.
Landros Townsend's worked on his right foot, so he thinks he's a better right foot crosser than left foot crosser now. So it can be done. But that, like you said before, and Brian, to back your points up, is that there's loads of players who should be working on it every day. Just enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just enough so you can complete that pass, or you can get that shot away with your left foot.
When that ball comes, you have the ability, you have to practice it often enough to know exactly how to hit the ball, how hard, how soft, side foot, instep.
Exactly.
Or even as we saw at the weekend, John Joe Kenny with the outside of his left foot. As Dele Alli did with his outside of his left foot, but that guy just got so much talent. It's hard to describe.
It's true. No, it was a great
just
point.
Envious of that kind of guy.
Great point.
So that's just my basic point. It's a fall down in coaching of football players from the very early age, from the beginnings, and I'm disappointed that it doesn't happen. In fact, I'll tell you a cute little story. I was with my lad who Ped and our next caller, who I can see on screen has met. And we were at Lily White's in Piccadilly Circus, the big sports shop.
Yeah.
And he wanted this particular pair of boots. Okay, so he got them and paid for them fine. And then he said, there was an offer, get initials printed on your boot.
Oh, yeah.
Very like £2 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So he got his initials on his right foot. And on the left boot, he put my initials.
Outstanding.
And afterwards, he came up to me and said, Dad, he said, do you know why I did that? I said, no. He said, because you were at me all the time. Practice with your left foot, And he actually scored a goal with it.
Brilliant. There you go.
Pretty chuffed.
There you go.
That's just it. But that was just an example of you practice with your weaker side, and in the long run, it will pay benefits.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Be a more complete footballer. And that goes into life as well in other aspects of life. But this is just an example in our case, what we're talking football. And there's such a shortcoming of coaching ability, natural. For me, it's common sense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You have to be a complete player. If you're on that pitch, the ball comes up, you have to be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
Those that can deal with it get picked as a team.
Yeah, definitely.
No.
And that is the point. You want to get picked, you want to play. You want to play, you've got to be able to deal with the ball in all ways and forms, however it comes to you.
Yeah.
Speed, spin, high, low, chest, thigh, well, between your legs, whatever. But you've got to be able to do that. And it's such a shortfall in coaching. And I don't understand why it is not given more priority, a greater priority. I mean, we're not all like Glenn Hoddle could use 2 feet, Gascoigne could use 2 feet. I mean, but these guys are just at a different level to an ordinary player.
Definitely.
Even your Premier League player, these guys were at a such higher level.
Definitely.
Can you imagine if Townsend hadn't practiced with both feet?
Yeah, that's it.
He'd never made the Premier
League. He'd be a very average player,
yeah.
Oh.
Well, he'd never ever made the Premier League. And what's he done? Played for England.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's interesting because my dad teaching me to practice with my strong foot.
Yeah, which Ned, you can't speak.
Enough, Ned. Shut up. Right, Brian. Thank you very much. Going to take our final call, but nice one.
Thanks,
cheers,
mate.
pal.
See you now.
Take care, mate.
Bye now. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Right. Is Steve Kelly there?
He's there, yeah.
Get him on very quickly.
The last one, last caller. Steve. Hello,
go
mate.
On.
Look at that, straight on. No messing.
There you go.
How are you, Steve? Go on, mate. What's your point?
I feel like I've just done my coaching courses again.
There you go. Top, Brian, top man.
But you know what? It just proves, doesn't it? It's just basics with football.
Yeah.
You're looking at recently with the set pieces with Paul Clement.
Yeah.
Something you were taught at a young age. Always on your toes.
Yeah.
I feel like Lampard's got us back to just doing the basics. Really, a lot better than we obviously were under Benitez. But in regards to the call, it was more to do with obviously the John Joe Kenny conversations, and I do understand people's point of view of obviously who want to keep him and give him that extra year maybe. But I suppose the cynical side of me is looking at it like I've looked at certain situations in the past when we've kept those players for a bit too long. You know, like your Penningtons and all that type, and then they've gone on to be probably ridiculed, haven't they, really, as Everton players? And I don't know, there's part of me where you just think he hasn't really been good enough for the past 3 years, so why, because he's having a decent spell, should we look at keeping players like that, if you know what I mean?
He's got to earn it, hasn't he? I was just saying earlier, Steve, he's got to earn that right now. He's got the rest of the season, I think, to try and earn it. And ultimately, if we get to the end of the season, he's shown a level of consistency over 4 or 5 months, and he's helped the squad, then maybe he deserves a year or two. I don't know. I mean, the terms wouldn't be mental anyway.
Yeah.
And if it means we don't have to go and get maybe another kind of utility player, and he is up to that level, then I've got no problem. But as you just said there, I'm not going to decide after a couple of good games. I do think his attitude is not just his attitude in terms of his attitude to how he approaches football, and knowing he has to start putting in the hard yards because this is a real crunch time in his career. I think that's definitely changed. So he's got the next 4 months, and I think he's definitely in the manager's eye line. The manager knows he's been training every day, working his backside off. So just keep doing that, and the club will ultimately decide whether he needs one or not. It's not for us to decide. It's up for the club. And so far, he's done everything right under Frank Lampard. And if that continues, then he's got a good chance, I think.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I do think Lampard's season was probably a bit maybe of a safer option than Mykolenko at the moment. Like, I'm looking at players like your Mykolenkos and your Branthwaite. I think Lampard might start using them a lot more when we're probably safe.
Yeah.
But at the moment, he probably sees Jonjo as more reliable and not against Mykolenko. I thought he was good against Brentford, but there was times where he did look a bit scared and he looked a bit hesitant on the ball and hesitant to get forward. So I think maybe until we're safe, he might play Jonjo at left back. But there was just one final point as well, just in regards to the centre back situation. Two players I was thinking. I watched them last night, and Adam Webster and Lewis Dunk. What do you think on them two players?
Lewis Dunk, I think, he's an interesting one because I think he's not amazing.
Good on the ball as well.
He's decent on the ball, and he's physically imposing, and he's a leader. He's a better version of Shane Duffy, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
Webster's a good player as well. I think Webster's numbers are like one of the top centre backs in the country, isn't he?
Isn't he two-footed?
Bringing the ball out.
Yeah, he's good at bringing the ball out. And that's why I think Graham Potter had said they weren't that bothered about losing Ben White. They wanted to make sure they got the money they wanted for him, but they weren't bothered because Webster took over. So, yeah, they're two really good shouts, certainly from the boat. Lewis Dunk especially. He's not
got a bit nasty side.
Exactly,
well,
he has got that little bit. How old is he, Stacey? What's 20?
He's about 25, 26 maybe.
Is he? Let's have a look here. Well, I'll just check. But yeah, because when we're talking about players, I talk about Niakate and things like that. 30 Dunkers.
Yeah. Is he?
Yeah. See, so that's
rules about.
Webster's only 26.
That's one. Well, exactly. Tarkovsky, he's 29. He's not 30 till November.
Didn't realise he was that old.
31 in November, so it'd be very much short term.
Webster's a lot younger, I think.
Webster's 27, so just turned 27. So he might be better. He's 6'1".
He's a big lad, but he is very, very good on the ball.
Yeah, they're two shouts, aren't they?
Well, so.
They're two shouts because they're both playing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So they're two ones. Like you said, Ndicka and Niakate are two I like the look of in Germany. Both
I like
big,
the lad
physical.
From Wolfsburg as well, is it?
Lacroix, the French lad. He's good.
He's very good.
Loves to dance as well. So you'd be replacing Mina with another one who loves to dance.
Components of the modern centre back.
So there you go.
But they're flexible.
Flexible, yeah. But any of those, I think, are decent. And obviously, Diallo, one they looked at in last month, didn't he? PSG.
He played last night, didn't he?
Yeah, so. And he's left-sided, isn't he, as well? Yeah. So can play both. But yeah, any of those would, I think, Dunk could be interesting for a couple of years, but it's 31 this year. But Webster maybe, because you'd get 3 good seasons out of him as a leader, and then you'd like to think Branthwaite had come on by then, Reece Welsh had come on by then, Ben Godfrey would be a commanding centre-back by then. So yeah, maybe one of those two who've got that Premier League experience.
Yeah, definitely. I just think the way I've seen Brighton play a lot this season, and obviously seen when Lampard, since he's come in with the 2 centre-halves, like to have the ball short off the goalkeeper. I think you look at our centre-halves sometimes, they don't always look the most comfortable doing that.
And again, Webster, who Chelsea are looking at as well, by the way. Yeah. But he come from Bristol City, which goes on to the back of what Ped was saying. I think it was the live show we did at dinner time, Patreon exclusive, was about are the players in the Championship who can do it? Are the centre-backs in the Championship? Lloyd Kelly. Yeah, he's one that I think is.
He's got a terrible second name.
Yeah, second name lets him down. Left-footed, obviously, but he's not imposing. Lloyd Kelly, I think he's only about 5'10", 5'11".
Is he?
So, yeah, so.
I do think it'd be nice to have that left-sided centre-back, though. We haven't really had it.
Yeah, no, it would.
We haven't really had a left-sided left-footed, really, since, was it Distan? Was it?
Distan was probably our last one who bring it on.
Just to have that nice to have that balance.
Well, we had the balance with Lescott. Moyes loved that, didn't he? He had Lescott there, and then he replaced him with Sylvain Distan, and that's maybe one of them. So
wasn't Alcaraz left-sided?
When you got a right and a left. So.
Wasn't
Alcaraz was left-sided, yeah. Just proving the point that not all left-sided ones are brilliant. He had that one game.
He had that real balance. He was crap on both feet.
There was 2 games he was good, Stoke New Year's Day and Newcastle, and that was it. That was enough.
Yeah. I was going to say as well, I heard someone say Mason Mount before. I think got more chance of signing Mount Everest.
I've been waiting to get on and say that, haven't you?
That's the only
that was the joke.
That's the only reason he called. Elliot's mentioned Jonathan Tari's another one, stay, isn't he, in Germany? He's big, strong.
Well,
but he's getting on as well, so it's finding the balance, really. We want someone who's reliable. People like Webster, even Dunk, do play a lot of games every season, so they're the ones you want, I guess.
Sound. I'll let you go now.
Cheers,
Steve.
Steve. Thanks,
See,
mate.
nice one, mate. Take care.
Nice
See you
one.
next week. Steve's
Nice
in
one,
next week, of course. Take care, Steve. Ta-ra, mate.
Excellent
Steve
stuff.
Kelly is in next week, of course.
Excellent stuff. Another good club
It was
call.
great.
Another good club call.
I mean, nearly 2 hours. That needs to be cut down. But
no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It was fine.
If you want to join us next Wednesday, make sure you're on Patreon. The link's over there. And come and join us. If you're not on Patreon, come and join us anyway, because there's loads of boss stuff over there. Loads of boss exclusive
Forum,
shows.
discounts in the shop.
And you get to come to the Patreon night.
And come to the Patreon night.
Yeah,
so there you go.
So thanks for watching. The match preview is on Patreon right now as well. It's not on YouTube yet. It's on tomorrow, but it's on Patreon right now. So go and check that out. Also, Business with Blaine is on Patreon right now. It's a Patreon exclusive. So you've got to be on Patreon if you want to watch an hour of Bass and John Blaine discussing all the latest business matters at Everton.
Was it an hour?
Yeah, it was easily an hour. Including the season ticket stuff. So that's available if you want to check that out as well. There you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Deli Alley Wave.